It's been really hard to give DC Comics movies a bone now, hasn't it? As far as superhero movies go, DC is playing catch-up when it comes to their films. You may as well change the DC acronym from Detective Comics to Disillusioned Competition, if you know what I mean. It's no more apparent than after having witnessed Batman v Superman myself. Here you have a movie that does just as many things right as it does wrong. But when the good qualities can't quite match the terribly excruciating things like the villain, overcomplicated plot, and crummy CG, you're left with a pretty passable experience. However, there was one aspect that moviegoers had to agree on after seeing it, and that was Wonder Woman. She was pretty cool. It wasn't until after I've seen the movie I really thought about the character. I don't think I know much about her. Other than a few cartoons I've seen, I have no freaking clue who and what Wonder Woman is. Yeah, she's got cool bracelets, they deflect bullets, she's got a lasso that makes people tell the truth, and, that's pretty much it. Oh, how could I forget? She's got that invisible jet. That's something. That's about it. So knowing she'll be appearing in her own movie before Marvel starts production on any female-led superhero movies, gotta give them credit on that, I think I owe it to myself to find out more about the character. Wonder Woman was the product of the 40s brought to us by William Moulton Marston and H.G. Peter. What I think is more fascinating about this chick is that she was not just created by any comic book writer, she was created by a well-published psychologist responsible for working on the modern polygraph. Holy crap, this guy sounds amazing. Now, that's my kind of guy. She's appeared in her own TV series and owes herself as being one of the few comic book characters people look up to, as well as being an overall badass female. Given the era she came from, where minorities were offensive side characters, this is a pretty big deal. This brings us to today's film, a direct-to-video film that attempts to discuss the character's origins, powers, and setup, simply called Wonder Woman. There is a war between the fierce, debatably immortal female warriors called Amazons and the minions of the Greek god of war Ares. After the god banishes Ares to a mortal life, the Amazons are left to a life of seclusion. This brings us thousands of years to the present, where Ares plots his revenge, and it's up to Wonder Woman to save the day. Let's talk about the story, and a seemingly hilarious connection. Wonder Woman's enemy is the god of war, and her mom is the queen of the Amazons, which is influenced on an actual Greek myth. I say this is funny because the creator is a psychologist. It's practically a cliche to have a psychologist somehow make it Greek. You'd imagine the conversation between him and the story man at DC Comics going, "So, with your extensive knowledge about the human mind, I need you to create a character. How is it gonna be?" I don't know. Make it Greek. Okay, just as long as you make it edible for the audience. Just not edible. There's a great running joke in the film involving the word crap. I don't want to spoil too much, but every time it's brought up, it brings out a laugh in me. But here's the thing. The movie's got people getting decapitated in more brutal ways. I think they could have afforded to use the other 4-letter poop word to fit its PG-13 rating. Oh, right. I forgot to mention that there is a lot of animated blood spilling in this film. You can make a counter for all the times somebody gets their head chopped off. The voice cast? Wow. The voice cast is amazing. Every person is perfectly cast. The tyrannical god of war is voiced by the equally commanding voice of Alfred Molina. The suave and charismatic Steve Taylor is played by the equally charismatic Nathan Fillion. The badass warrior Princess Artemis is played by the equally badass Rosario Dawson. But if there's an ace in the hole, it's having Kerry Russell as Wonder Woman. I watched this show on FX called The Americans, and on it Russell is already a tactical and deadly fighter where you would not want to screw with her. So seeing her play the role for this character, despite it just being her voice, works really well. I don't know if she's become too high profile to play Wonder Woman in these films now, but all I can say is that I would definitely want her to play the character sometime soon in the animated films. There's also something oddly familiar about this movie in comparison to another DC film. I find it weird that this movie has the same story elements as Man of Steel. Seriously, both movies start with a long epic exposition battle that leads to their villains getting imprisoned, and the birth of our main characters. Both movies have parent figures who worry about the way the modern world will perceive their existence. The villain escapes their imprisonment and declares all-out war on humanity. Then the movie ends with the hero ultimately killing the villain. I mean, it might be hard to believe that David Goyer was watching something with a positive female lead in it, but maybe he was watching this white noise while he was writing Man of Steel. Part of me sees this movie and makes me wonder about Wonder Woman. That's funny. It makes me curious about where this new Wonder Woman feature can go with this adaptation already out. Given that some press release stuff indicates how we'll see the Amazons, they'll be involved as well as the character Steve Taylor. It does make me wonder how close they'll stay because on its own right, Wonder Woman the animated movie is pretty good. It's got a lot of action, plenty of good lines, and a lot of fun. A well worth it rating. That brings me to my question for today. Do you think that DC Comics movies now has a chance with this upcoming Wonder Woman movie? Comment and let me know. I'm Joey Tedesco, and thanks for watching this review on the Cartoon Palooza.